All right, let's get straight to it this morning. Since late last year, there's been a continuous heated reaction to the decision of the Kano State Government to four other emirates from existing Kano Emirates. The emirate, being an ancient tradition dating back to 800 years, is an institution with historical antecedents.
That's right, Rufai. It has also been argued reasonably that a matter as sensitive as splitting the Kano Emirate ought to have necessitated a public hearing in which all stakeholders will be invited to deliberate upon.
However, kingmakers in Kano Emirate sued the governor for splitting the Emirates and for allegedly planning to dethrone Emir Sanusi II. Well, joining us now on Kano State Emirates matters arising, as well as other pertinent issues in Kano State, is SALIHU Tanko Yakasai, the Special Advisor, Media to the Kano State Governor, Abdulahi Ganduje. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it would seem as if the dust raised by the creation of those additional emirates is yet to settle. Just yesterday, the Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission of the state is insisting on probing His Royal Majesty Emir Sanusi II, despite a court order quashing its interim report. But for those who say, you know, this was a witch hunt by His Excellency Governor Abdulahi Ganduje against the Emir, how would you describe the relationship between both men at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment it's very cordial relationship, and I'd like to correct you that the dust is settled.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, because I think a lot of the issues were raised were sentimental to a large extent. But the fact of the matter remains that the creation of the four emirates was done legally. It was a law passed by the State Assembly, and as such, it's binding. It has been assented to by the governor. And what people fail to realize is that even though the Kano Emirate dates back to almost 1,000 years ago, so equally three of these new emirates, the Emirate of Gaya, that of Karai, and that of Rano, yeah. These three have almost the same history as that of Kano, only that then Kano was a bigger emirate. Part of the history is that the Gaya Emirate in particular was there before Kano Emirate. Understand? So people don't get that side of the history, that these emirates, they were just smaller emirates that after the period of time, you know, they got consumed by Kano Emirates. Even back then, the district heads of these emirates were referred to as Sariki. They are not called district head emirates in Hausa Hakimi. They are referred to as Sarikin Gaya, Sarikin Karai, Sarikin Rano, referring to as Emir, even though they are more or less like a district head. So people need to understand this side of the history. So it's only Bichi that we can say is a new emirate that has a new Emir, and that Bichi also has a history for over 100 years ago or thereabout. Since the creation of district by the colonial masters, Bichi has always had a descendant of the Bayero family as the leader of Bichi, and as such, to be able to give those people from that side of the state a sense of belonging, a sense of sense of their own share, yes, something like that. You know, this new emirate was created so that there would be a bit of balance. Okay. But most importantly, the creation was not born out of the personal relationship of His Excellency Dr. Abdulahi Ganduje and Emir Sanusi. It was because of the need, the yearnings by the people in these emirates. You understand? What I want people to understand is that if the people of Kano State in general do not accept this new creation, knowing how Kano is, you understand, there wouldn't be peace and stability in Kano.
Okay, I just wanted to come in there. But a lot of people say the elders are kicking against it. When you look at the antecedents in this area, some will say, why wasn't this done under Ado Bayero? Somebody will have thought that Ado Bayero, since he has a direct line to the Bichi area, will have created the Emirates of Bichi. Some will say, why was this done now? Some will also look and say, oh, I think to a large extent, and this is the word out of Kano, not out of Lagos, out of Kano, it's because of the political squabble. You know where the emir was leaning to politically, and you know where Governor Ganduje was leaning to politically. There was a political clash, and this is bang on reprisal. Tell me otherwise.
Yeah, well, let me start with the point you raised about the elders of Kano, kicking against it. And there are particular group of elders, of course, that are kicking against it, which is rightly so, mostly from the Kano metropolitan area, which is where the main Kano Emirate Council is. But the remaining 4 emirates, which constitute the majority of the people of the state, nobody is kicking against it. They're happy with this new creation. They are the majority, you understand? So there's no, of course you will have some few boys that will disagree with it, but if the majority accepts it, then what's the fault in that? You understand? Of course, there's nothing that you can do.
Is it that the dissenting voice shouldn't be respected?
It's always respected. It's a constitutional matter. It's a law, I mean, So if there is anybody that is against it, they then go to court. And,
they went to court.
They are in court.
They are in court.
I know, but what I'm saying is let the due process take its course. The kingmakers went to the court as well, but the court established that, no, this is something that has been established by law and there's nothing anybody can do. So, but to the second issue you raised, which is the...
political leanings, that these came to the fore because of political leanings.
Let me refresh our memory a little bit back, Malerufai. The issue is that during the era of late Abubakar Rimi, the former governor of Kano, one of the first civilian governor of Kano State in the early 1980s, he created these emirates. He was the first to do that, you understand. And back then, unfortunately, he did not take it to the State Assembly, make it into a law, tries to establish it legally. He just make a pronouncement and decided to elect the new emirs. But Governor Abdulahi Ganduje changed that. He came and said, okay, since the people of these emirates are in need of these new emirates, why don't we follow the due process and do it the legal way? So it's not that Dr. Abdulahi Ganduje was the first to do it. Later, Abubakar Rimi. But
Abubakar Rimi did it because he had a squabble with the emir too. Then
the issue remains
just like this same scenario. He had a fight with the emir too. Then that's why Abubakar Rimi did it.
Yeah, if there's a crack on the wall, then Eliza will get in. You understand? If there's the agitation, the agitations have always been there. If they've been able to manage the relationship, then there will be that moral, that pressure on the government that I'm living peacefully with this person, so there will not be the political will to do it. Understand? If I take you back to Ado Bayero, after Rimi did that and it was cancelled, he also Ado Bayero also learned some lessons from that as well. And since that time, you have never had Ado Bayero taking sides politically, showing his hands politically.
So you've been able to allude to my point that there's a political undertone. Because you cited Rimi. Rimi created new emirates because he had a political impasse with Ado Bayero. They were not in good terms. Ganduje is creating this new emirates now because he has squabbles with the current emir. So when you look at those two cases parallel, it's obvious there's a political impasse now, so all is not well.
Can we talk about... What
I'm saying is that if there's a crack on the wall, then you give a chance for the lizard.
Okay, let's talk about the intent of Governor Ganduje here, because when he did come out to talk about it, he said it was to boost development in areas of economy and security and education. And my first question to you is, do you believe that the creation of these 4 new emirates can do all of these things?
I do not believe, I know.
And then, sorry, my second question to you, especially since we're talking about education, we know that there, in the area of free and compulsory education in Kano State, I want to know what your take is on this new announcement made by the governor to arrest the Almajiri, the fathers of these Almajiri children that go out to beg for arms. So if you could answer the first, do you think it works as he said it's going to work?
He did not just say it, you understand, he's walking the talk. Because I can categorically tell you that since the creation of the 4 new emirates, already a construction or a contract has been awarded for the creation of a mega hospital in each of these emirates 400-bed capacity hospital that will be able to serve the people of each of these emirates. As it is, the Kano State Executive Council has seen a presentation by the Kano State Ministry of Infrastructure, I believe, on the development, urban development of these 4 new emirates, where they will constitute of the main city of the emirates. Then you have new residential areas, industrial areas, and other components. So this is already ongoing as I'm talking to you. You understand? The whole essence is that Kano is one of the few states, if I'm not mistaken, one of the only states in northern Nigeria to have, even in Nigeria, one of the few states to have a one-city state, where the only city or big town, for instance, is only in the metropolitan area. Kano is like that. When you go to Jigawa, you have Duse, the main capital, but you have Hadeja, you have Borno Kudu and others. When you go to Sokoto, you have that type of arrangement as well, and other states as well. So the whole idea is that to take development, to take government and governance closer to the people. So when you have, for instance, now we have this big hospital in each of the, we are going to have this new big hospital in each of the emirates. The whole idea is that they don't need to come to Kano. What you are trying to do is you are trying to address the issue of rural to urban migration. So they don't, unless if it is necessary, unless if they want to come to Kano, of course they are free to do so. But the whole idea is that for simple issue as whether healthcare or to commerce transactions or what have you, they can be able to do so and live in their own state. As it is, as I'm talking to you, a lot of them daily come to Kano, do their businesses and transactions and whatever, and then go back. So by creation of this new, they will be able to do that. Also, if you look at the traditional institution, the Emirate Council as it is, before the creation of the 4 emirates, the farthest distance, farthest local government in Kano is Dogwa. It will take you about 2 hours from Dogwa local government to come to Kano. Daily, the district heads, especially of these local governments that are outskirts of Kano, they have to commute daily to come to Kano. All their people and wards that have issues that want to bring to the Emir. It's
quite a journey.
It is a journey. And then you spend 2 hours to come to Kano, and then you spend 2 hours to go back. You understand? Look at the hurdles, look at the expenses, the cost implication of that. So now, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they will go to the headquarters of the Emirates. So I think people need to detach themselves from the sentiments of the creation of the law and look at it holistically. Look at the development that it would spread across Kano State, and look at how that's going to further propel development in the state. Now, to come to your second question, which is the issue of the...
We have just a minute to the break, so you can start answering, and then I'll call... No, you can continue. I'll just let you know that we have one more minute.
Okay,
yes.
On the creation, like everybody knows, since the second tenure of His Excellency, after his swearing in, or on the day of his swearing in, I believe, he declared that his administration is going to pursue free education, but also compulsory education. Now, people don't understand that why that compulsory is there. It's not just a word that is embedded in the policy. The whole idea is that if you make it compulsory, that means by school hours you don't expect to see one child on the street. That each and every child must be in school because it's compulsory. If you see any child on the street, it's against the law. You understand? So the issue of begging, the issue of kids not going to school. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to come in here. When we come back, you will land on that thought. You're still watching Arise News. Join us again.
Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. We're still talking Kano State, the developments there, politics and otherwise. SALIHU Tanko Yakasai, the Special Advisor, Media to the Kano State Governor, Abdulahi Ganduje, is here with us in our Lagos studios. Thank you so much, Mr. Yakasai, for staying with us.
Thank you very much.
You had started answering that question on free education, and yesterday there was that event where His Excellency Abdulahi Ganduje declared open free education, compulsory education. There was a program in Kano State where he did that. But he made a statement that some people might query. For instance, we've seen different governments trying to increase enrollment in schools and discourage almajiris. But the governor said yesterday, I would arrest almajiris on the road. I would arrest anybody connected to that. And as a teacher in the almajiri system, if you are not comfortable with this new system, leave the state. Isn't that rather drastic of the government?
How else do you intend to address the issue of almajiri if you don't go drastic? That is the best way to go about it, because we've been pampering them, you know, trying to make them understand the implications of all these things. You cannot send a boy on the streets without someone taking responsibility or care of these kids. So the whole idea of what His Excellency is trying to do, first of all, there are things that are going on behind the scenes. He did not just wake up yesterday and said, you know, I'm going to arrest these kids. And there are a lot of things that have been going on.
Would you like to share them with us?
Yes, of course. I'm happy to do that. You know, one of the things that he is doing currently, and they are almost done with that, is that he engaged, last tenure, they established the Sangaya and Quranic Schools Management Board, which I think is the first in the northern Nigeria, or by extension in the country. And the essence of that board is to regulate all the Islamia, Sangaya, and Quranic schools in the state, which is very, very important. If you need to set up an Islamia or any of these type of schools, you have to go and register with the government so the government knows of your existence. That's one. Secondly, they have been saddled with the responsibility of getting all the data of this type of schools in Kano. And they have gone far. I think they are almost done with the statistics. Each school in each ward is being documented. The name of the Alaramma or Sheikh or Malam or whatever it is, the number of students, the names of the students, their age, their state of origin. All this data is being collated. As I'm talking to you, I think we have registered over 13,000 Sangaya, Islamia or Quranic schools in Kano. 13,000. And the whole idea is, once we get this data, we're supposed to, it will help in planning for these kids. Imagine the number. They are about, I think, close to 1 million or thereabout.
Almajiris?
Yes, okay. Which are mostly the part of the other school children. Let me land on this important question that you asked. So the whole idea is when you get that data, you plan for this case. But most importantly, which is the reason for the proclamation that His Excellency made yesterday, is to stop others from sending more. Because we have programs that already, the government has already started rolling out, which is school feeding for these schools. Just like the federal government, in collaboration with the state government, is doing for the primary schools. Yeah. The federal government is doing primary 1 to 3. The state government is doing primary 4 to 6. So the state government has introduced that type of thing to encourage them, because one of the reasons the Alarma said that they are not financially buoyant to take care of this. So the whole idea is that, okay, we are going to support you with meals for these kids so you don't have to send them to school. And secondly, which is the event that was done yesterday, was the recruitment of 7,500 teachers. And these teachers are not going to your conventional schools. They are going specifically to these Islamia, Sangaya, and Quranic schools to teach English and maths, so that they can be able to learn basic numeracy and what have you, understand. So you see the efforts that are being taken to that.
I said the efforts, and just a while back, the Emir of Kano himself had said that the fathers of these children should also be arrested. And that brings me to the point of, you're addressing all of these issues, but there's a major issue here, which is that of poverty. And you're correct. The majority of out-of-school children, according to statistics and by UNICEF, is domiciled in the north. So I can understand how troubled the governor is about this. But the fulcrum here is the poverty of the families. Who send these kids out, although not an excuse for any family, any parents to send their children out to beg. But this is a fundamental issue of poverty. Is the government also addressing this issue? Of course it is.
Of course it is. And one of the things that a government can do to alleviate poverty is agriculture. Because once they're able to farm their food, and even if not to sell, but at least to be able to feed themselves, that's huge. But where the problem lies is that if the state government, if Kano, for instance, is doing what it's doing, but then again, other states are not complementing, or there is no coordination in what the state government is doing, then you'll not be able to see results. Because more kids from these states will be sent to Kano, and there's nothing Kano can do about it. You know, we live in one country. There's no way we can say that, okay, this so state should not send their kids to Kano. So that is the danger. There has to be a coordination between the northern governors to try and address this thing together.
I want to come in here.
I have a quick follow-up, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, because Adiso had rightfully mentioned that the Emir of Kano State had come out to say that they should arrest the fathers and not the children. But he has made that statement that they should be arrested. And if you look at it, it doesn't really factor, because if you take these children and they are arrested, they're the ones that are trying to go to these schools to get these educations. Then what next for them? What's the plan if they are arrested?
I'm so happy that on this particular issue, the Emirate Council and the state government are on the same page. Not only on the same page, but on the same line. It's very important for the sustainability of the policy and on the final achievement.
I mean,
okay. Yeah, to answer the question, you know, it is not that they are going to be arrested and put in prison.
Okay.
Understand? It's more or less like some sort of detention. You understand? Trying to get them into the system and see how they will be integrated into the society.
Still on the lines of education, and I wanted to ask a question, and I was excited when you said the Emirate Council and the state government are working in tandem as regards. Recently, the Emir of Kano was made an SDG ambassador by the United Nations in America, and his goal is for female education of the female folk. It looks as though they're left behind. I mean, what would the state government like to do with the Emirate Council in terms of ensuring that females are educated in the state?
Well, one of the other advantages of the free and compulsory education is the girl child education, which is embedded in a coded way in it. Because one of the major problems of the girl child education is that they drop out of school early to get married, which also in turn has its own issues. Early marriage, you know, has an entirely different issue. So what the policy is trying to do is to marry these two under this compulsory word that has been embedded in the policy. And the whole idea is that if it is compulsory from primary, basic, up to secondary level, that means every child must stay in school till he finishes secondary school, including the girls. If the girl is in school, how do you expect a girl in school to be married and go into school with pregnancy and all that? So without openly being in confrontation with the Islamic scholars who have been talking about this issue of early marriage, which is a melting pot on its own. You know, you've been able to make sure that the girls remain in school.
But that's an important conversation, because those people herald the society. You'll see the Emir went straight against them recently by saying this should not continue. Yes. So we need to have a conversation. When is the government going to tell, you know, the scholars that early marriage is a no-no because of the future of these children?
Confrontation will never get you the result.
What will get you the result?
Sitting on the table.
But just like you said.
Imagine, because of time, with gentlemen.
One minute. Imagine if the governor said, each girl, there will be no early marriage for girls till they finish secondary school. Imagine the uproar that will come.
That's probably what we need, don't you think?
Is that not what we did with Al-Majri?
That is what.
Is that not what we did with Al-Majri? Arrest them.
That is what we are doing, but in a better way.
Okay.
Have you had any of the Olomas fighting?
It's an important conversation we need to continue to have. But I want to step away from education and talk a bit of politics.
Go ahead.
Senator Rabi Kwankwaso, former governor of the state, from our boss to the current governor, approached his part of the PDP to say, you need to approach the apex court to review the judgment of the governorship elections, which the governor won. How does this come across to the governor? Does this rattle him? Does it distract him from governance?
No, how can he be distracted?
Okay.
You can see the great things that are coming out of Kano. This is no distraction whatsoever. And I can tell you categorically that with all sincerity of the fact remains that Senator Rabi Kwankwaso on this particular issue is ignorant of the judicial process. I can tell you that the tribunal at the state level, you understand, took all their prayers, you understand, on the issue of the gubernatorial election, took all their prayers one by one. It took time, I think, over an hour for the judge to thrash out all the issues, all the facts that were presented, all the witnesses that were presented. She took time to dissect and digest everything. And in all the prayers, they did not get one single of it in their favor. They ran to the Court of Appeal in Kaduna, and unanimously, the Court of Appeal agreed with that judgment. They went to the Supreme Court, the same thing. It was a unanimous decision. So they did not have to start with an iota of hope of having any, because like we say in Hausa Sharia, Sabana Hankali, is the law is not just anyhow that you can just expect it to be in your favor without presenting facts. You have to go to the
law deals with facts and not sentiments.
Not sentiments, exactly. That is basically the translation in Hausa. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is that on what basis is he going for this review? You can understand the case of Bayelsa. Just Alex, is it Alex, your guest earlier in the show, morning show, that was talking about the case of Bayelsa and Imo. You can understand their own cases and why that was a bit, to say that, a bit controversial. But in the case of Kano, what hope do they have? They have no hope. So I don't see any basis, and to be honest, we are not bothered. If we are not asked of this, I have even forgotten about distinguished senator.
Okay, as we wrap things up, we'd just like to say a very big thank you, for coming, taking the time out to come all the way to Lagos and
hopefully
talking
we'll
to us about it.
Hopefully we'll get the governor to come in himself soon.
And we can't wait to have the governor. Very exciting interview it will be. All right, I really appreciate you for your time once again. SALIHU TANKO YAKASAI.